What's going on, everyone? Travis Witherspoon, Carter Cow Trading. Hopefully, everybody's doing very well. Want to give an update on the NASDAQ 100. Want to take a look and see what has happened over the course of the last few days. The last update we ended up talking about, the market was actually in a channel, and it has broken out subsequently since. So we're going to end up breaking it down from the weekly, daily, and then after that 2 hour, and then after that give a overall thought process on what to be able to do for us being able to get in or be able to stay away from this overall trading path. So let's take a look at it. Remember, overall, this weekly has went through an A to B to C to D extension and basically completed a D extension. And currently, right now, the market is actually retracing. From that retracement move, as we speak, we can see that this market has retraced down to the 23.6 position, also known for the short for us for as our masterclass. If you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about that, you can be able to send me any type of message from there. But typically, what will end up happening is this: if the market ends up retracing only to the 23.6, and then after that breaks the overall B high, then you'll start to see a little bit of retracement once the market ends up hitting up to 14,696 was an overall area. Now, this is weeks away when it comes down to overall movement, so we have to be able to keep that in mind. But we also end up noticing that we end up breaking a counter trend line break starting off at the beginning of this week, and it's maintaining and holding above this overall trend line at this particular time, with a overall point of control being just below the 11,000 area. So we have to be able to keep that in mind as well. So going to the daily, initially when we took a look at this overall trade, we were thinking that this market was going to continue moving bearish. We ended up having a downward channel that was actually working through, and I'll show you that a little bit more on the 2 hour that was actually happening. And we had an ABCD swing that was actually going through the overall process of being able to move to the downside. Well, the C high is basically at 1152 at this particular point, and it's basically being attacked right now for this overall movement that has happened over the course of the last couple of days. Now, what you end up noticing, if you look at the candlestick formation right here, we end up seeing we have bearish movement. Then after that, we end up having a bearish decision candlestick, a indecision candlestick. Even though it was bullish, it was still a indecision spinning top. And then after that, we had a decision candlestick. This is a morning star. Typically, after that overall move, you will start to see people start to look at being able to buy going into the next candlestick day from there. Now, once again, for us, this is a little bit more of a precision entry point trade because there's a couple things that end up happening in here that made me end up taking a short loss on this trade, but actually start buying when it came down to this trade after the fact. We end up seeing that we had a counter trend line break, which was one. We end up having a candlestick formation, which was another one, and we started to see a little bit of sediment change, in which we can see now that the bulls have started to take control. With that being said, we should be looking at more bullish activity than we should be looking at bearish activity. Now, let's go back to what we ended up talking about at the beginning of the week, because we were kind of looking at this overall channel that was actually happening throughout this overall move from here. We ended up seeing that this market hit resistance, fell down to support, ended up hitting resistance again, fell down to support. Once we end up trying to hit resistance again, we were looking at being able to sell right around here. We took a short loss because it ended up breaking the overall high of that overall channel. With it breaking out, typically you look for a retest. And I think that we're going through that retest process right now as we speak. If you look at it from the 2 hour, we can see that the 2 hours definitely getting back into the buy zone. And we have an ABCD swing that's actually working through at this particular point right now. And I'm going to show you what that ABCD swing looks like from an overall movement standpoint. And then after that, kind of explain exactly what I'm thinking from here. So from this move, we can see that this market ended up going to its A, that was its B. The market is actually retracing right here. And as long as this market maintains this actual low, and we end up having two more candlesticks, or basically 4 more hours of overall bullish movement at this point, then the market is expected to go up to 11,601. So if that does happen, then that means that it will actually be close to the 382 area, or basically the short area that we end up talking about based off of the daily and the weekly perspective. With that being said, that is a strong confluence for me to be able to consider if this market ends up breaking a trend line towards the upside, to look at being able to buy, with being able to place our stop below the A, which would be at 11,240, and then after that taking our profit when it comes down to this overall position at 11,601. Or you can go to the daily D extension at 11,721 for its overall movement. Now, The only thing that you should be looking for is when the market ends up breaking out of this overall area and crossing this counter trend line break. Once you get that, you have a trade to the upside. And then after that, I think it will be a very profitable trade. You have a very low risk to very high reward trade on this one. If you like what we end up doing, please make sure that you end up liking the video, comment down below. Tell me about what you think is going to end up happening with this overall market. Make sure that you end up subscribing to what we end up doing here at Carter Cow Capital on TradingView, and make sure that you end up watching the video that is subsequently going to end up being placed uh, into our other social media platforms. Like always, believe in yourself, change will end up coming. And like always, plan your trade, trade your plan. Everyone, y'all have a good one.